Bitcoin loves to repeat similar characteristics across its history from back in 2015 up to even the present day. And I've got a really, really good video for you today. Again, just looking at a perspective that I think most people just cannot even bring their minds to be open to. And that's why this stuff is really, really important. It is a bit of a more kind of bullish case, and I understand that short term we're still not looking great. I'm going to get to the short term analysis in just a minute anyway, but this is still a bunch of really, really important stuff, and I think you guys are going to find it really interesting. Before I get into all of that, I want to make one very, very special announcement. This page right here, which you can find with the link in the description below the like button, will give you access to our Trade Insane package, roughly a $200 value. Every single VIP member gets this for free, but now you have a chance of getting it free of charge as well. All you've got to do is sign up to Bybit with the link in the description down below. By the way, this is only going to be valid for Bybit probably just today. You got to sign up to Bybit, make your first $1,000 deposit. If you've already done that, great. And then give me your user ID. This is a really, really quick form. And right at the end of this video, I'm going to put a tutorial specifically showing you how to get this because it is super straightforward. But just in case you have any problems, that's going to be there. I'm not going to talk more about this right now, but if you want this free package, which by the way, is incredibly valuable. Ignore my young face right here, but just pause this to read through what you're getting. I'll come back to this in a minute. You are going to find this very, very interesting. This has changed traders. It's created traders. This is one of my favorite things that I've ever produced. Anyway, let's bring it back to the chart here. The first really important thing that I want to talk to you about is actually what we saw back in 2015, and it specifically is in relation to the price action that took place over here. So if I go ahead and replay the chart back to roughly over here, switches onto the daily time frame, we had something very interesting happen on this chart that we're actually seeing produced on this present day chart as well, which was that Bitcoin was in quite a downtrend from its all-time high down to roughly its lows at about $200. But from there, we actually managed to start trending up a little bit, right? We formed a very small kind of uptrend, and I can actually illustrate this even better by drawing a parallel channel. Take a look at this, guys. Bitcoin kind of entered a little bit of a parallel, it is a parallel channel, but a bit of a kind of ascending channel right here. And then it dumped below it, which, at the time looked absolutely catastrophic, looked absolutely horrific, ladies and gents. And then the market was able to finally recover back up. But it did take a little bit of time. In order to get back above this trend line took about 57 days. And by the way, right now, we're in a very similar situation. We've been about half of that time frame now, something like that. I'm going to get to that in just a minute, but I want to talk a little bit more about what actually happened back here. So here's the thing. Bitcoin had a 227-day bear market basically until it bottomed out, and we kind of hit this ascending channel formation right here. And the thing that resulted in this really quick flash crash right here was actually a hack of the Bitfinex exchange. So shout out to those of you that were around back then. That was a very, very long time ago. This article from August 2015. If we take a look at this chart, that's exactly when this whole drama began. It's literally on the day that this article came out. Bitcoin price falls 14% following the Bitfinex flash crash from, what is this, like $250 down to whatever, like 180 or whatever. I don't even know what the red line here represents, but very, very funny to look back at this in hindsight. And the reason that I think this is really interesting is that Bitcoin always fucking does this. We always see situations with Bitcoin where we're rallying up super high, we crash down massively, things get worse, an exchange gets hacked, one goes bust, someone else's, company, just can't, support withdrawals or whatever. We see the same stuff happening all the time with this market, and it happened back here in 2015. This is one of the most common things that takes place in this industry, and Bitcoin always recovers from it. And that's just like a personal note from me to you that I just want to get out of the way, right? Like Bitcoin does this all the time. This is not new. Even what we've seen with FTX, you might try and put on the pessimistic hat and be like, yeah, but FTX is way bigger. Sure, okay, that's true. Still doesn't matter. Still doesn't matter because this is the same thing that we've seen take place in the market many, many times. And that's why I'm not worried about this. I've been saying for a really long time, those of you that have been paying attention, staying subscribed to this YouTube channel, shout out to those of you that are, you're going to know very, very clearly that this is not a Bitcoin problem, right? This whole FTX drama that took place and everything that happened was never a Bitcoin problem. This was always a centralization, an FTX issue. I'm not going to get back into that, but the technicals are scarily similar because if we take a look at this chart right here, this is what's happened back in 2015 on the left-hand side, and this is what's happened again right here. Now, the time frames aren't quite the same, right? Because when Bitcoin bottomed out right up to the point that this drama happened with Bitfinex, this happened from like kind of January all the way up to August. It was like an 8-month range. This wasn't nearly as long, right? This was just kind of June up until until like October, November. So not nearly, I mean, what is that? That's like, oh my God, I'm so bad at math. That's like 4 or 5 months, you know, compared to more like 8. So somewhat similar time frames, still quite far off. Ideally, you'd be expecting these things to get longer, not shorter. So that might not mean that this is valid, but we've got a lot of the similar structures here, guys. Just looking at where these arrows are pointing to, you know, very, very similar structures on this chart. And then crucially, also that drop down where we lose that support line and we drop a little bit lower into, in this case, the $16,000 range, and in this case, the $200 range. It's really, really interesting to see how even the $100 range, it's very, very interesting to see how Bitcoin has, you know, kind of formed very, very similar patterns over time, you know, and again, potentially pointing to something similar playing out. Because guys, one of the key things you've heard me talking about over the years on this YouTube channel is that Bitcoin loves to reproduce similar characteristics, right? It'll do things on large time frames, on small time frames, you know, years apart, weeks apart, days apart, minutes apart. Bitcoin always repeats the same things, and you know, our job as analysts and as traders is to be able to spot these things so that we can have an edge on the market. Many people aren't even paying attention to this, but obviously we are able to catch it because it's not just me. I've got a team behind me, ladies and gents. We're watching these things with a hawk's eyes. Ladies and gents, we really, really have got this locked down. And what I thought was really quite interesting was that back in 2015, when we managed to recover up, take a look at this. We had this area of resistance back in 2015, right? We used it as support on the way down in 2014, 2015, it turned into resistance. Bam, guess what? Turned into resistance again. Turned into support again, which was absolutely phenomenal, because we managed to get a push right up to that next area of resistance, which again was support back in 2014. I mean, this is a phenomenally just beautiful chart, just illustrating textbook technical analysis, really everything that's perfect with the world illustrated on this chart, where we have beautiful support here turning into beautiful resistance, staying as beautiful resistance right up until, yeah, you guessed it, it turns into support again. We've seen the same thing play out back here with the, what is this, like the $300 level? We saw the same thing back here with the $450 level. And if we take a look at this chart right here, showing us basically the same damn thing, we've got a very similar setup potentially about to take place with Bitcoin right here, where if I zoom out, hide my face so you can see this, we had a little bit of resistance right here. We flipped it into support. If we get back above it, this could turn into support again. It could be resistance now. So this is something we're still yet to see. And I'll talk about this in a few minutes when I get to my shorter term analysis, but this could turn into resistance, and if we get above it, it could turn into support. And this area also acted as a very little bit of resistance back here. It's almost too hard to see, but definitely acted as very strong support. So it's fair to say that this area could become resistance when we target it again, if we manage to get there, of course, because nothing is guaranteed, as we know very, very well. And guys, I just think this is interesting. I think that this is something that most people aren't even going to be receptive to. Most people aren't even going to want to hear about. And that's purely because their own biases are just screaming way too loud in their ears that Bitcoin must continue to drop down. But, you know, here's a question I want you to consider. When this really big drop happened in the market, right, back here in 2015, when the big crash happened, when, you know, Bitfinex had, by the way, 4,000 Bitcoins were lost on this day. They were hacked. 4,000 Bitcoins. Punch that shit into a calculator and then punch your balls 50 times and you'll know exactly how that must feel for whoever lost their money on that day. I don't even want to know. You know, 4,000 Bitcoins, absolutely horrific day. You know, and obviously what we have now is on a much larger scale in terms of dollar impact and everything like that. But the fact is, the market was way smaller back then. You know, I mean, like FTX gets hacked today, and only the extreme pessimists, or the people that just don't really understand what's going on, are going to be quite worried about the space collapsing and dying overnight. But everybody else that has some level of basic understanding of what's going on here is going to know that FTX does not equate to the rest of the crypto industry. FTX does not equate to Bitcoin, right? They're not the same fucking thing. I don't know why people don't understand this yet. You know, like if FTX goes down, that was never related to Bitcoin in the first place anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And the reason that all of this stuff is really important is because we saw a huge impact on the market. And it wasn't just Bitfinex, by the way. Mt. Gox, right? This whole peak, by the way, like this whole peak right here, this was Mt. Gox getting hacked. I might be mistaken on this, but just go back and check it with the headlines. Just look at the date that Mt. Gox got hacked. It was most likely, in fact, we can probably find this right now. Mt. Gox hack 2013. And we're going to see that this happened around December of 2013. Let's let me just switch on to the news. Okay, this is going to be too hard to find, but you do your research. You'll see what I mean. I might have gotten the dates wrong, but it's roughly around there. It really looks like some of the articles here confirming the same thing. So like the space has survived stuff like this. We're in a similar situation right now. I mean, fuck you tell me. You tell me. This is the same thing we've seen play out so many times on this chart. You really think this time is going to be different? You think that this time, because Bitcoin is however many thousands of percent higher, that this isn't going to play out in the same way? Like, I just don't see that happening, ladies and gents. I think that Bitcoin is in a very, very similar situation, and I don't think we should be horribly surprised if we do manage to just kind of turn this into a kind of short-term blip before we rally back up. It would make so much sense. Obviously, right now, it looks pretty abysmal. It doesn't really look like we have any reason to be hopeful, and it didn't look like that back in 2015 either, but that's exactly what happens when you're at bottoms in markets. I just want you guys to be aware of this. I'm not saying we are at a bottom in the market, but I'm saying that if we were, guys, if we were at a bottom in this market, you best believe that it's going to look just like this. Like, it is going to look just like what we're looking at right now in this market, and nothing dissimilar at all. Again, the other thing that I want to draw to your attention right here, kind of 60 days until we managed to get back above, and we did test that trend line a couple times. We didn't quite do this time, right? I mean, we're not exactly repeating history in this particular case right now, but if we do take a look at this chart right here, we're still in, quite a similar situation overall, I would say, where we've if we look at this on the daily time frame and draw that very same line right here on the present day chart, we have spent a good amount of time below this line right here. It's been about a month now, 3 weeks, my bad, not quite a month. So we could, if we're following the same thing that happened back here, we could theoretically stay below this red trend line right here for another 40 days really, and hopefully we're going to get some back test, something that looks a little bit like this. That would be phenomenal, and then maybe a little bit of a punch up. That's exactly what we're hoping for right now, and I think that's what would kind of confirm this. So that's what I'm going to be looking out for. If we do manage to get back up here, it's going to mean a lot of really, really bullish things for the space, in my opinion. And if we take a look at this chart right here that I've had drawn for you for a little bit, is it this chart or a different one? So I've got so many Bitcoin charts. Yeah, we'll just use the main one right here. The key levels that I've been talking about for so long, ladies and gents, are still the same, right? I mean, I'm still definitely thinking that, kind of a rally up to this point, maybe even a close slightly higher would make a lot of sense. But, the minute we're able to get above 18,500, we're really just back in the game. And that would kind of be in line with hitting that trend line as well, which I think is really, really interesting. And again, Bitcoin does this all the time, right? Like, here's a great example of Bitcoin doing it today, moving into our shorter term analysis. Where Bitcoin loves to use old areas of, in this case, resistance, loves to use old areas of resistance. And look at this, it's so damn reliable, man. It's just the most beautiful thing ever. We're using this as resistance, bam, we get above it, we start using it as support. We've used it as support so many times now, right? So if we do manage to get a meaningful bounce up, I mean, there's really not much stopping Bitcoin if it manages to get above kind of, where it was, kind of being held down right here. If it manages to get above this kind of range right here, should be a very easy run up to these highs right here. And it's not going to take much of a push with that kind of deviation that I've been talking about in the previous video. I'm not going to repeat it, but those of you that were subscribed, you're going to know all about what I'm saying here. With that kind of deviation, to get up to kind of 18.5, 18.2, guys, to me, that looks like something that could definitely play out. And in terms of trading opportunities, my God, that is, I mean, these are very, very juicy ranges right here. I mean, just from this potential breakout point to this speculative area of resistance, we've got a 4.5% move. But like I said, deviation could take us even higher, like 7%. We've already been discussing this for like 3-4 videos, right, on this YouTube channel. This leveraged up a little bit is powerful, right? This is a big deal. And guys, I just want to bring this to your attention again. So Bybit is offering you up to $30,000 in deposit bonuses. That means when you sign up and make your deposit, you're going to be getting up to $30,000 free of charge that you can trade with. It's absolutely ridiculous. I do not have words for it. It's absolutely insane to be able to get to 30K. And obviously, it's not a small deposit. You need to deposit $250,000, but they have other bonuses that are tiered for different deposit levels. And what I want to bring to your attention is those of you that are signing up to Bybit, you're going to be getting free access into this 𝗓𝗡lies Trade Insider Stay the Same package. And I want to give you a little bit more information on it. This is, these are key points that I've learned across my trading journey so far. I recorded this when I was a little bit younger, but it's great. Don't worry about it. We're actually we're in the process of re-recording all of this, but we're starting with the 𝗬𝗙𝐹𝐺 Academy course. And the thing is that just following one or two of these key points have been solely responsible for making or saving me hundreds of thousands of dollars in this game of trading, and I've laid it all out for you on a silver platter with this book written by myself only. It was my first time writing a book. I think I did fairly well. Inside, you're going to be getting an audiobook. I'm sorry, the complete ebook. You're going to be getting the audiobook version of it, narrated by yours truly. My God, it is beautiful. It's exactly as good as you think it is. A little bit better, and an accompanying video course where I'm covering the same contents again, plus you're getting some bonus stuff from our advanced 𝗬𝗙 Academy. This is some really cool free content, and like I said, well, it's not free, this is paid content. The total value of this, if you kind of add up everything that you're getting, is going to add up to about $200 right here. VIP members have been getting this free for a really long time, but now if you're not in VIP, you can do that as well by signing up to Bybit, or if you're already signed up to Bybit, just giving me your user ID and making a minimum deposit of $1,000. Now, I know not everyone can pull this off, but you don't have to keep your money there. Just make the deposit. If you want to trade. It's up to you, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. But check it out. This is a gift from myself and Bybit to you, and like I said, I mean, this is a brilliant exchange. You know, I mean, when you deposit something like this, you're going to be getting trading bonuses. You're going to be getting a lot of really cool stuff on Bybit, and of course, this has been my preferred exchange of choice for years. It's the exchange that I primarily use. By doing this, it's going to transfer your account under my affiliate account, which just helps out the YouTube channel, and you're going to be getting access to exclusive deals from Bybit and myself as well. So well worth checking out. This form is super straightforward. There's going to be a full tutorial on how to get to this at the end of this YouTube video, so you can check that out if that's something that you're interested in, and I hope that that's not too loud. And so you can check this out if this is something that you're interested in. Super quick, and then you just have to await approval. So this is the first time we're talking about this, and I don't know how long we're going to offer this for, but right now it is just for Bybit, so please do check it out if it's something that's interesting to you, if you want to be able to elevate your trading game. Bringing it back to the topic at hand though, if we take a look at the key area of resistance that we were looking at on this chart, it is going to be this 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, and unfortunately it looks to me like we have gotten a little bit of a rejection here. It's not too bad yet, but it is still a rejection nonetheless. It stretches down by about 2-3%. You know, I still think that Bitcoin has a chance at recovering this, but bottom line, we have now broken below the range that I said would potentially take us right back down to the range lows. It's nice to see that this support is helping Bitcoin so far. I don't want to be too optimistic about it. I don't have a reason to be particularly optimistic at the moment in this short-term chart, and this is what I've been saying for a long time, right? Like with a lot of different setups like what we're seeing right here, what we've seen historically, Bitcoin is doing things that have resulted in Bitcoin pumping up quite nicely in the past. That doesn't mean it's going to happen again now, but it is certainly a similar setup, and it's not something that I think you know, we should just be brushing off because the short-term chart looks bearish. That's always what happens, right? If you take a look at what happened to Bitcoin back in 2015 when this huge you know, kind of FUD took place with Bitfinex, and we just kind of zoom into this once more, you're going to see something really interesting. I don't know if you guys have ever actually gone back and looked at this chart, but what you're going to take note of on this daily time frame right here is that things looked pretty damn bad for Bitcoin back here as well. In fact, let's rewind this chart even more. Let's take it to something like this right here. This looked like Bitcoin lost a critical area of support. It looked like Bitcoin was slowly trending up. It was setting, you know, broadly speaking, higher highs, right? Broadly speaking, higher highs, and broadly speaking, higher lows. I mean, yeah, the perfect setup for an uptrend, really just everything that we'd love to see. And then we lost all of it. We lost all of it with volume rising. We lost it with an exchange getting hacked. I mean, it's the same formula that we've seen a million times in this space already. You know, it took place back here, and it really looked like Bitcoin was in a very bad position. I mean, you know, I know it's hard for us to kind of, you know, really understand what's going on now because we've got so much distance from it. And obviously many of you just haven't even lived through this anyway, but man, I mean, this didn't look good. This looked like Bitcoin was gonna just collapse through yet another floor, you know, and potentially drop down into the next range, which could be like at $100, right? You know, if this is hard for you to imagine, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. But you can look back at any of these similar circumstances in the past, and it always looked absolutely horrible at bottoms. And again, I mean, you know, this time is no different. Doesn't mean that we can't, you know, keep dropping lower. Obviously not. Like, we need to exercise a little bit of common sense when we have conversations conversations like this, right? Bitcoin is still, again, in a very bad position in the short term. I've been saying this for a very, very long time, but the short-term chart doesn't show you those reversal signs. The market changes first, and then we get a little bit of a move up. So this is still something that I'm interested in watching, and it's still something that I'm going to be keeping a very keen eye on, because I think a lot of people just are not receptive to it. You just can't discuss bullish ideas in this market right now, and that's not healthy. That's a very clear representation of a market that's just kind of got its head in the wrong places. And obviously my job here is to make sure that I'm carrying out the most rational, objective, level-headed analysis that I can possibly bring to you guys. And that's exactly what I'm aiming to do right here with this YouTube channel. So if it is something you appreciate and that you find useful, do me a favor, smash up the likes, do all those good things. Do all that good stuff. With that though, I'm going to leave you with the tutorial on how to get access to our 𝐿𝐴𝐷 package. Very, very straightforward. But if you don't already know how to get your user ID, for example, that's going to be right here. If it's something that you're interested in, you want to be able to get it for free, you want to see what VIP members have been getting, then this is going to be absolutely great for you. If you don't really care, if you don't want to learn about things that have saved and made me a shitload of money, then that's cool. Go ahead with the rest of your day. I won't judge you. I'll judge you a little bit. But if it is something you're interested in, go ahead and check it out. And with that, I hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do. Hit up the likes, subscribe, click the bell, all that good stuff. And I'm out. Cheers. All right, so if you're looking to take advantage of our 𝐿𝐴𝐷 package, get this completely free info product, here is how to do that, along with getting your bonuses currently up to $30,000 up for grabs here. You're going to get onto this link, which you've probably already found, and just put in your name. So I'm just going to put in a standard test name here with a test email address, and we're going to select if you're already in the 𝗪𝗪𝗏𝗏 Gold or VIP Telegram channels. If you're not sure, you can click not sure, and then your Telegram handle if you have, and then click next. Are you already registered on Bybit? This is very important. You would have had to use our link to sign up. You'd find it in any of the descriptions of my YouTube videos. We're going to go ahead and select yes. If you select no, it's going to give you a link to sign up. So we're just going to go for yes right here. And then we're going to get our user ID. So here's how to get your user ID on Bybit. If you're logged in on your desktop, you're going to have a page that looks a little bit like this. In fact, it's going to look a little bit more like this. You're just going to go hover up onto this right here, and that's going to bring up your email address and your user ID. So you're just going to copy that user ID, bring it right back to the form, paste it in here, and you're done. That's it. Click submit, and you are going to get your free access into our info product within less than 7 days, hopefully even a lot less than that. So there you go. Thank you very much.